Hello guys, I'm Pickles Parker, and today I will be giving you my movie reaction for Black Panther. Enjoy! First, I should probably say that I'm not a very big Black Panther fan. I'm not really aware of the lore too much. I haven't really been exposed to the character of Black Panther very much at all before Civil War, so I was very much going into this film very blind. I think that I went to the new City World where I live, and I went to see this movie, and I enjoyed it. I think that I wasn't hyped for this movie because I've had no real exposure to the character of Black Panther, and whereas I was very excited for the likes of Spider-Man Homecoming or Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, this film, I wouldn't say there was hype that. I thought it was going to be cool, and I was excited to watch a cool, unique movie because the trailer was really good. But in terms of real hype, it wasn't really there. I would say this film is good. It's a good film, and I think in everybody's eyes it's a good film. I can't see how anybody would think that this film is bad. It's not bad. I don't think you can feel that this is a bad film. On every single base levels, it's a good film. It's like a default. It is a good film, and I think that whether it's a great film, I think it's just based on your personal preference after that. I'd say it's a good film. I wouldn't say it's one of Marvel's best, just in my opinion, because I didn't really think it felt like a Marvel movie. That's not bad in any way. It was something different, something we hadn't seen in the MCU before. But I just felt that I didn't feel like I was watching a Marvel movie. I think where this film gets really good, and where I love it at the most, it's where it perfectly balances the African tribal feel of the movie with the tech on display. I think that there are moments in this film where it does that, and those are the moments where I love it the most. Because outside of the MCU, the whole African tribal thing, I wouldn't say I'm interested in. It's not something that interests me at all. So I wouldn't say that I enjoyed those scenes that were pure tribal. Really, I appreciate why they were there, because that's what Black Panther is as a character, and I'm not saying it shouldn't have been in there. It absolutely should have, but I just don't think I enjoyed that as much as other people, because that's not something I like outside of these things. And again, I think the tech on display was very cool, but we've seen that before in a Marvel movie, when it wasn't really unique to Black Panther. So I think getting the balance between the tribalness and the tech, I think, was this film's biggest strength, and those are the parts I enjoyed the most. I think Chadwick Boseman is brilliant in this film. I would agree with some people to say that the film feels like Black Panther 1 and 2 crushed into one. Because, spoiler alert, Black Panther dies halfway through this movie. And then he doesn't really, it's too short a time that he's gone. He's like kind of instantly just survives again. And you can tell that that's because they didn't have enough time to kill him off and not have him there because of the constraints of this movie. Feels like an idea that would have been done at the very start of a Black Panther 2, and then he would come back at the climax and do that and save it all, very much like the Dark Knight Rises. But because this was his first film, they couldn't have him not there for the majority of it. So they had to quickly revive him. And I felt that felt very rushed. And I wouldn't have done it myself, because I feel like it's his first solo outing and you want him to be there. Very much as Spider-Man had just disappeared in his first solo outing in the MCU in Spider-Man Homecoming. You would be a bit like, what? Well, I've paid money here to see Spider-Man, why isn't he here? And I think that's very much something that I didn't really like what they did in this movie. I think the whole world building of Wakanda was, I really liked. I really liked the world they created with Wakanda, this technologically advanced society, yet it still goes back to its tribal roots. I really like that blend, and I think Wakanda was a very unique place and world that they've created, and very much dissimilar to anything we've seen in the MCU so far. I think that the characters in this were very good as well. We got introduced to a host of new characters. My favourite being Shuri, Black Panther's 16-year-old sister. And I just really liked her character. I thought she was really... A lot of this film was very serious. I don't think the jokes were really there. It's not like a full Ragnarok, where there's jokes everywhere. But I also wouldn't say it's an Iron Man either, where jokes are not as prominent, but they're still there. I'd say jokes are very, very small in this movie, which I'm not arguing against. I think that this film, of what it was portraying, needed to take on a more serious tone. I think that was good. Had this took on a full Ragnarok style tone, it would have not worked at all. But I think that Shuri brought some really nice comic relief style, really nice moments. I really liked her character. I really liked her bond with T'Challa, and I think Letitia Wright, I think, who played Shuri, has very good chemistry with Chadwick Boseman. I think you really feel that they are brother and sister. I really liked how all the tech that she creates, and how she may even rival Tony Stark and Hank Pym for intelligence in this Marvel Cinematic Universe. And I'd really like to see her meet up with Tony Stark, perhaps in Infinity War or Avengers 4. I think one character which I think I disagree with completely with what the majority of people are saying is Michael B. Jordan's character, Eric Stevens, or Killmonger. People seem to say that he is the best MCU villain. I totally disagree. I think of what he's trying to present, and on the surface, on paper, I think his villain is very good, because you can relate to what he's saying, and I think in some ways what he's saying could be right. I think that ultimately what he's trying to do is what T'Challa and Shuri ultimately promote at the very end of the film. But I think that he's not in the film a lot, and I would say that again is very much when he's there, he's rushed. I don't think we quite have enough development, and I think the reasons why he's doing it are really interesting. But I think actually him as a character, I don't think he's interesting enough. I think they had a really good concept for a villain there. And I don't really think they utilised Killmonger enough. I think he's very much wasted. I didn't really feel like he was that strong a villain. I know people seem to love him, and yeah, that's cool if you want to do that. But I just think that they had a really good basis for a villain, and ultimately I think they wasted him. Many people disagree, but I just felt he was very much a weak villain. But I really do love the concept behind Killmonger. And there's a really nice moral dilemma, like Wakanda. Should they share their tech and help people in need? or do they just keep it for themselves? And I think it's a very moral dilemma, and there are pluses and minuses on both sides. And I think ultimately, in some parts, it feels like T'Challa's in the wrong, that he should be sharing this text. I think that's really good, and I think that's the main theme throughout this movie, and I really like it. I don't think Marvel really does that much, but I think that the whole theme of this film, and that that underlying theme of sharing, and that underlying moral dilemma, was really nice to see. I really liked Martin Freeman's character of Everett Ross. I'm not familiar with the character at all, but I love Martin Freeman as an actor. I think he played that well. I'd really like him to possibly in Infinity War to actually meet up with Doctor Strange, and there be some kind of like a thing that they both recognise each other, just as like a reference to Sherlock. That would be actually hilarious. But yeah, I think that Martin Freeman's really good as this character, and I really enjoyed his performance. I think that the soundtrack is really good. I really love Ryan Coogler's direction in this one. I really think he's made a stunning looking film here. I just think, for me, it's a good film, but I don't think it's great just based on my personal preferences. I have a few flaws with the movie, mainly that they had a really good concept for a villain in Killmonger and wasted him. A lot of the things in the film feel rushed, and I think that, based on personal preference, I'm not necessarily a fan of African tribal things, so maybe I was kind of not necessarily the most interested in this movie. But I still really enjoyed it. I think I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 and 3.5 stars out of 5. I'm also going to make a few adjustments for movie reaction ratings I've given in the past. Thor Ragnarok was an 8 also. I'm going to bring that up to an 8.5 because I watched that again recently and really enjoyed that. It's gone up in my MCU rating, so I'm going to give that an 8.5. And Justice League, I'm going to move down to 7.5. Thinking about it in retrospect. But yeah, Black Panther's an 8 out of 10 and 3.5 stars out of 5. I really enjoyed it. I wouldn't say it's one of Marvel's best, but it's a very experimental movie, very different, and ultimately I think it works. But what did you think of Black Panther? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Did you hate everything I've said about this movie and think it's the best MCU movie? Just please put your comments down below. Please like this video if you have enjoyed it, and if you want to see more content from my channel, then please hit subscribe. Thank you guys for watching, and goodbye. So, hello Gary and Adam. So, the Three Doctors. Now, the Three Doctors is a rather odd story, but I love it all the same. It really sets the template for multi-Doctor stories to come, such as the Day of the Doctor, and even Twice Upon a Time to an extent. I love the interactions between the third and second Doctors. It's not really the Three Doctors, although that couldn't of course be helped because of Hartnell and his poor health. The effects aren't that great though, even for Classic Who, yet Omega is a brilliant villain. I love the whole concept of the antimatter universe and how the Unit HQ is transported from one place to another. The supporting cast is really good, and overall it's a really good third Doctor story.
I'm going to give The Three Doctors an 8.5 out of 10.